I recently read the book Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox-Cobain. If you lack charisma, life can be frustrating. With your colleague with the same amount of experience might get the promotion before you do. If you have a fantastic business idea but lack charisma, you might find it nearly impossible to sell your business, where other entrepreneurs with a less good business skills, they might win, right? So is it possible to learn charisma? That's the question. Yes, it is. For instance, if you look at the early presentations of Steve Jobs, you see, was it nearly as charismatic as it was later on? It was bashful, it was awkward. And in the years following his presentation, Steve Jobs learned how to be more charismatic. So she's proven in the book that you can be more charismatic over time with practice. So it's a myth that it's something you naturally have. Charisma is a skill you can develop. However, before you can develop it, you want to know what it is first, right? So what is it that draws you to people? When they talk, you listen. When they ask for something, you're eager to help. So what she found, that it was 3 positive qualities that people have with great charisma. That's power, warmth, and presence. So if you see that in Oprah Winfrey or Steve Jobs or Martin Luther King, it's a rare combination of warmth, presence, and power that makes them so magnetic. And not only do they convey that, they do so in a way that it appears effortless. So how can we learn to do that? So that's what she talks about in the book. So when your social interactions, so with athletes have shown that visualizations, right, help tremendously. So if we can do that with social interactions, so because the brain thinks that what the mind sees is real. So if you go through visualizations before you see someone, we be present in our bodies. We convey like that person. So how can you do that? For instance, the power visualization. So have you heard of power posing? It's the act of adopting a pose that makes you release more hormones that are related to feeling better about yourself. So for instance, Superwoman pose, or hands in your side, or things like that. So if you're in that pose for 2 minutes, you release more testosterone. So that's one thing you can do. And you can even do that by thinking about that power pose. So you don't even have to do it, just thinking about doing that, and it would already release. So a reason that it basically releases the hormones by 25%. So that's quite a lot. And holding it, before or during, it can be a little bit awkward, right? So you can just what you could do is see yourself walking into the room or onto a stage like a massive gorilla. Yeah? So you're hitting your chest, all in your mind. You're hitting your chest, you're breathing like a gorilla, and you can do the same thing by visualizing a person. So if Oprah would be someone you admire, then you would breathe like Oprah, you have the same pulses like them, you make the same hand gestures, right? So the second one, warmth. Think about a mother that has warmth towards their child. They just see the best in their children, and they just assume that they're wonderful people. So the greatness of that is that if you think of everyone like that, so for instance, think of everyone, visualizing everyone having angel wings. And angel wings are in the stories, like angels have to do a really good deed in order to get those wings. So that means that everyone you meet that has formed this amazing thing. So they've rescued a child, or taken care of a dying parent, or So if you meet someone with angel wings, you're fascinated about that story behind them. So you're curious about what is it that they did? What good deeds did they do? So that naturally conveys a sense of warmth. And finally, the visualization of presence. So this is really hard because our mind loves to wander. And during a social act, basically almost half of our mind is wandering. So the question you're going to ask first, or, you know, so how can you stop that? So imagine when you stubbed your toe. Was it hard to imagine anything else than the pain in your toe? No, right? So you do that same thing, but then without actually stabbing your toe. So you can visualize your sensation of your foot. So the toes touching the cloth of your sock or the sole of your shoe. So you can visualize that your brain is all the way down into your toe. And that just takes a few seconds. And then you're present, and then you can convey that presence with the person you're talking to. So that naturally conveys a sense of practice. So there's 3 components of with charisma. So focused charisma, visionary charisma, and authority charisma. Focused charisma is achieved primarily through listening, and basically it makes people feel heard and listened to and respected. Visionary charisma requires just something that's delivered with complete conviction. It just inspires people to believe and want to take part of this vision. And then kindness charisma is warmth and acceptance, and then with the warmth one as well, again, the brain doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So if you're in the street and you're in the car and somebody drives at you and you get really upset and angry, and then they drive away, and then if you can either be really stuck in that angry sphere, or you can just make up a story and make a story in your head. Oh, there was a parent in that car with a child that had to go to hospital, that's why they cut me off. So with the you can alterate along, between power and warmth and presence, or use them all together. And to decide which one to use, you just look at your own personality and the specific situation at hand, right? And you don't need to be outgoing. There's certain types of charisma that Olivia talks about that introverts excel at. So, like Bill Gates, the focus charisma. So you don't have to be charismatic. You don't even have to be attractive. So she mentions like Winston Churchill. He was certainly charismatic, but not considered handsome. So he had really, really strong charisma. So also you don't need to change your personality in order to be charisma. You don't have to be a different person. You're just engaged in presence, power, and warmth. So what stops us? What gets in the way? And the primary thing is our internal mental state. So what's going on inside our head, inside our own voice? So for instance, he talks about a person that had a really warm jacket on, and they were sitting outside, and then the sun was shining in their face, and they squinted their eyes. So the person they were talking to, they thought, oh, they're a bit nervous. They're holding their neck, but actually they're sweating because they were so warm because the sun was shining. And then they looked angry because they were squinting their eyes, but actually it was the sun. So make sure your internal thing. So when you're feeling self-doubt or anxiety or discomfort, irritation, whatever, you're not going to be charismatic. So the 3 things that you can do in order to get clear of these obstacles that get in the way. The first thing is to destigmatize discomfort. So most of us have a very low threshold in experiencing any levels of discomfort. So if I'm feeling stressed out and I get stressed out about my stress, to destigmatize that discomfort, we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So if you don't do that, the resistance to that pain that naturally arises, that's going to multiply that pain. into something that's unnecessary. So Olivia describes it like quicksand. You know, the more you move, the more you resistance, the further you sink in. The other thing is that somebody said that suffering equals pain times persistent. So if you persist it, then it's going to be a lot more. So that's what charismatic people are. They're comfortable being uncomfortable. They don't constantly judge themselves of, oh, I said something wrong. And they get uncomfortable with that and lose their presence and warmth at the same time. Then she says we need to neutralize the negative thought. So that negative state is going to influence your charisma. So imagine a negative thought flowing into your mind. First you have to see it. And look at it as if it's graffiti in your mind. It's not about who you are as a person. It's just some grey paint on the wall in your mind. You don't have to get caught up in it. It's just label it. Fear, oh, judgment, I'm judging myself now. Oh, I'm feeling anxiety. So it's just the amygdala that, you know, you don't have to neutralize it. You just have to be, you just rewrite reality, as I said in the example with the card. So the brain really can't tell the difference between what you imagine to be and what's reality. So when you want to rewrite reality, you just challenge whatever you think, and just rewrite your story. So just think about, oh, I can also interpret this situation this way, right? And what she says is it's really important to write all this stuff down. So yeah, just rewrite it, write it all down. The main point here is that the main thing about your presence, power, and warmth is your internal thinking, your internal mental state. If that's not right, you're not going to have as much charisma as you can. So the other thing is, how can you increase your power? So, you know, just visualize. For instance, do this. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and relax, and think back at a time in your life where you were most sort of strong, where you were super fired up. Maybe it was an event, an award that you won, you just crushed it, you know. You felt triumphant. Your eyes closed and recreate that scene in your mind. Visualize it. Hear the sounds of the room of people congratulating you. Feel the handshakes. See what's going on and feel within you. Your body, the pride that you felt performing so well, and just feel that sense of triumph. And that's a really quick way to boost your power. And imagine combining that vision of yourself with the past, whatever you imagine for the future. So this is what my life looks like in 5 years' time. This is what it's going to look like. And then feel that past triumph, and then connect it to who you feel. How would you feel if you would achieve this in your life? And then how would it feel that, you know, just have that sense that you achieved it now? So feel that sense of power, that sense of grounding, and that sense of confidence that you achieved it, that what you wanted to achieve. And really feel it, really visualize it. The other one, how do you boost your warmth? The first tip that she gave was gratitude. So if you're not grateful, you're not going to be as warm as you would be if you were focusing on the things that were going right in your life. So if you think about the things that are not going well, you know, those people they don't have a lot of charisma. Charismatic people are powerful in warmth. So, you know, count your blessings. Think of all the awesome things that, you know, that happen. The other thing is goodwill. So as I mentioned before, see other people's joy and just send them love and be happy that they're loved. So if you see people in the street and they're holding hands, you're like, oh, really happy that they're holding hands for them. Like, I'm happy for them. So the third one is compassion for people and the challenges they might be facing. So another thing that's really important, if you don't have warmth for yourself, if you don't have warmth and compassion for yourself, you're going to have a really hard time giving that to other people. So you basically cultivate compassion for yourself, is destigmatizing discomfort, making yourself wrong for challenges, and just allowing yourself to be okay just the way you are. And just give a level of compassion to yourself as well as to other people. Boost your warmth and remember how you were in the past and really feel that visualization. So just neutralize the negativity and rewrite reality, and every time, you know, something happens, and just write down a more empowering story on paper. And remember their skills. There's just something you have to work on. And then the one most easiest one and one of the most effective one is the iPhone effect. That when people simply sit down and give you and give them your presence for a few minutes, you know, rather than having the phone on the table, that's hugely charismatic. You know, that can not be distracted, not be, you know, just put your phone on flight mode and just really be there with that person. That's so rare now, you know, and it's so quick. Because even if you don't pick it up, it diminishes your presence. So it's a super easy tip that you can do. Those were the core message things that I gathered from this book. The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox-Cabane. It's a well-researched book on charisma. I highly recommend it. If you like this video, please share it. And as always, thank you very much for watching and have a productive day.